One of the greatest joys in life is knowing that you've made a real difference in someone else's life by truly helping them. At UCP of Central Florida, the remarkably talented and genuinely caring staff makes all the difference for thousands of children. Today, it's with great joy that I'm able to share 3 outstanding success stories that are bound to bring a smile to your face. Louisa came to UCP of Central Florida in 2000 at the tender age of 18 months. She was immobile, she couldn't sit up or roll over. Louisa's parents were desperate for guidance, but their resources were limited.
Us being brand new parents, we've never gone through, raising a child together, let alone a child with special needs. So it was very difficult, it was very frustrating. We felt very helpless almost, as if, we wanted to help our daughter, but we couldn't. And there was really nothing out there for us to, tools to use to even help if we wanted to. So it was very frustrating.
Finding UCP was an absolute miracle in and of itself, because knowing that something was wrong and not being able to do anything about it was frustrating. So UCP was a godsend.
Through therapy and the individual attention provided at UCP, Louisa quickly went from crawling on the floor to walking with the aid of a walker. It wasn't until the age of 4 1/2 that Louisa took her first steps.
It was fantastic. I was at horse therapy, which is something that she did for a few years. She's still growing and learning and becoming more independent every day.
Louisa has greatly benefited from the attention and experience she received at UCP. Today, she is in the 3rd grade and attends Wendy Ridge Elementary School. She's extremely social with her peers, and she participates in singing, acting, and dance therapy. This happy little girl is a ballerina, and she's very proud to tell you that she recently starred in the lead role in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
We thank it all to UCP, because without that first stepping stone, she wouldn't be the ballerina and actress that she is today. One of the things that UCP was able to do that was to instill that in her, to never give up.
Unlike his twin brother, Paul was born with spina bifida, hydrocephalus, and severe deformities in his legs and feet. Shortly after his birth, doctors told Paul's parents their son would be permanently confined to a wheelchair and may never be able to stand on his feet. They said surgery would not improve his condition.
It was finding out about the spina bifida, finding out about the hydrocephalus, finding about all the things that he was going to face, and that he was never going to have a normal life, and that he was not going to walk, and that he might be brain damaged, and that all this stuff was just going wrong. And it was heartbreaking, and it was like this dark cloud was over our entire family.
When Paul started UCP in his wheelchair, we really weren't sure if he was ever going to walk. It was a long, hard road to get him up on his feet and get him moving. He started out using a walker and could move just a little bit at a time. And when he graduated from UCP, he walked across the stage to get his diploma, and it was one of the happiest days, I think, of all of our lives. And when he started elementary school, he used forearm crutches in the classroom and to get back and forth between his classes. This past school year, he decided that he doesn't need the crutches anymore. He's walking independently up and down the hallways.
Paul treats his disability as something special about himself. It's like a constant show and tell item. If anybody asks, why does that kid have those crutches or anything about him, he's happy to just stop them and explain that he was born different and that he has different needs, and he doesn't view it as something that makes him worse than other people. It's just something that makes him different.
Today, for all intents and purposes, Paul has gotten rid of his crutches, and he ends up in some surprising places, driven by his desire to soar. When Gina was 2 years old, she was diagnosed with autism. Children with sensory issues often look typical, but have great difficulty processing everyday activities and sensations. One of the many challenges Gina faced was that she couldn't speak. She didn't interact with other children and expressed a lot of frustration and anger because she wasn't able to verbally communicate her wants and needs.
If we took her to playgrounds, she would just pick up rocks and stones and would ignore other kids. She had a lot of frustration and temper tantrum issues because she wasn't able to communicate with us what she wanted. She had feeding issues and a number of sensory issues. She didn't like to get her hands dirty, she wouldn't touch Play-Doh, and didn't do a lot of the things that other kids her age were doing at that time.
We brought Gina to UCP at probably 2.5, 3 years old. By then she wasn't talking. Her behaviors got worse at that point and we needed help. And we found UCP. When we brought her there, she was still nonverbal and wasn't really responding to our voice. Even though she was right in front of us, she wouldn't, like we weren't there.
Gina is so different today than where she was when she was 2 years old. She is an incredibly social child. She is happy to play with her friends. She makes eye contact. The music therapy program that they started at UCP started a transformation in Gina. She has come further than we could have ever expected her to come and reached goals that we never thought were possible. We don't set any more limits for Gina because Gina is an individual and she reaches her own dreams and goals. She does a lot of that now through music. She's shared her voice with us through music, and Gina tells her own story through music.
The music therapy program at UCP of Central Florida helped Gina find her voice. Think about it. She was a child born with autism who was afraid of public places and was known as the little girl who couldn't talk. Now, she's a beacon of hope and inspiration for all children like her because today, Gina is a singer. I believe it's safe to say that she's no longer afraid of public places. You see, Gina has sung on NBC's Today Show and at the U.S. Open. Watch this.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Isn't she amazing? From incredibly challenging beginnings and with obstacles and roadblocks at every turn, Louisa, Paul, and Gina have each made remarkable strides. As Helen Keller put it so very well, one can never consent to creep when one feels the impulse to soar. UCP of Central Florida continues to help children with the impulse to soar, but more importantly, to find their wings. UCP of Central Florida, the experts for children with special needs.